Well, welcome to another conversation, an Echo Circle conversation with Rachel Brenton-Morrow, and you are a soul sister to me. I love you. I asked you how you wanted to be introduced today, and this is what she sent to me. I'm reading it word for word verbatim. She started off with the first word, friend. Friend, collaborator, coach, wellness warrior, nature lover, founder of brenmore Creations and Natural Way Group of Endeavors. And you are an entrepreneur. I can see you expanding rapidly. That excites me. You're in my little membership, so I get to know a whole lot more about you than the average person does online, because we share these things. We're in each other's inbox regularly. We are inspiring each other. I connected with you. I'm trying to think back. I think one of the first places I met you was a workshop that I was running, if I'm not mistaken, for making natural products.
No, it was actually at Good Space.
Yeah, I was running a workshop, I'm pretty sure. Well, I might have met you once before then, but
yeah, I met you the first time at the luncheon.
I distinctly remember us connecting on this making things.
Yeah.
And, you know, I've always prided myself that I attract friendships that embellish me, that teach me new things, that my friendships don't have to be based on commonalities, if that makes sense.
Absolutely.
But, you know, sometimes those commonalities are real heart connections. Because we can discuss things that nobody else is passionate about. And that's you and I when we start talking about herbs or making beauty products or cleaning products. We're trying to live tox-free lives. How did you get into this type of passion project?
So this whole thing started for me when I had a heart attack.
Mm.
And so my life had been chaotic for 25 years, and I never took the time to pay attention to my body or my brain. I just did what I was conditioned to do, which was work hard, you know, keep clean house, make sure everything was perfect, you know, look good, do all the things that, you know, we think as women that we have to do. So it was a whole process of stress-related activities, and I ended up with a cortisol overload, and that caused a massive blockage in my heart. And so it had grown over years, and I couldn't work out why I was tired all the time, why I was brain fog. I had cold fingers and toes all the time, because it was actually my anterior descending artery that was blocked, and that's the one that takes the oxygenated blood out to your body. So it wasn't reaching my extremities, and that's why I was always tired. You know, like I would do something and I would have to sit down, that kind of thing. And I mean,
to the average person, Rach, you look healthy. I mean, you know, I've met the new remodeled you, but I wouldn't perceive that you had the warning signs just by looking at you. This is where looks can be deceptive, right? You're not overweight. You look like you're healthy on the outside, but you know, I love this story because it shows us that from a higher perspective, that our difficulties actually lead us into our soul purpose. And I see that you're so passionate about educating other people, particularly other women, myself included. This is our connection where we've got to take it back to the natural way. So how did you get into studying about herbs and things?
So when I had the heart attack, I was 56 kilos, and I was the fittest I'd been in 20 years. So it was a bit of a kick in the butt for me. So the first thing I started to look at was what I was eating, what I was drinking. And then when I started to investigate those things, and I saw what they were putting in processed food, which was easy for me at the time because, you know, I was running a business, I was working full time. I was doing a Cert 3, so I was studying as well, running, just doing all of the things. And so for me, processed food was amazing because I could just heat it up and eat it. And then when I saw what they were putting in and what it actually does to your body, I was like, well, what else, shouldn't I be doing? And that's when I got into the endocrine disruptors and, the carcinogens and all of that stuff that was in mainstream face and body products. And then it was like, well, I wanted to get off the statins and the aspirin and all of that. So I was looking for a natural alternative for that. So that's where I got into the herbalism side.
Yeah.
And the other side came from all the toxins that we take in. That's what causes a lot of the inflammation.
Yes.
Causes a lot of our dis-ease.
Yes.
So our body should be
happy.
Yeah,
of our energetic body. I'm
Yeah.
so glad you brought that up because I know there'll be a ton of people watching, especially from my old life in the media, where they're very careful about what they eat. Yeah, they do the organic, they do the herbs, they do all of it, but they're still putting things onto their skin, the biggest organ, and it goes straight into the bloodstream, right through the pores of the skin. And
chlorine.
Well, what are you doing there? Because we talked about meeting in our beautiful kitchens. What are you making today?
I'm making a sleepy magnesium cream. I've had so many requests for it, and I sold the last one. So because my husband uses it and my mother uses it, I have to make sure that I always have some on hand.
I love that.
And then I had a friend say, oh, I need some of that cream that your mother's been talking about. And so now I'm
Oh, I love that. Yeah, magnesium also works with the heart, right? And it's one of these light conducting minerals that we're definitely deficient of. We are what we put into ourselves, mentally, emotionally, chemically, all of the above. And you can put it in through the mouth, or you can put it in through the pores of the skin, or you can put it in through the ears or the eyes. It's all the same thing, right?
Yeah, and your belly button.
Oh, yeah, your belly button. Yeah, I wrote a blog on that once. Now, I need to pull that blog off one website and pop it up on the new one. Yeah. Hey, honey, so you have made this into your business. Your what has rescued you has now become your sole purpose to help others with, because looks deceive us, right? We can look and think, I've got this perfect lifestyle, I'm hitting all the goals, I'm doing everything, and yet I've got no energy. And at the bottom of all of it, it's all energetics. This is why plants heal us. Would you say that? Like each little herb or plant that we're using has an energetic signature. Right? So the ancients used to actually be able to communicate with the plants. Is husband there and he's in his underwear?
The dogs are next door started barking. Somebody will be walking past. How dare they?
How dare they? Well, I know. Great to hear. You know what my dog's like. Yeah, so when we talk about plants, like this little creation that I've purchased from you, and I love how you wrote my boom shaka on the label, because we're just cute. We're just creating and making.
I like to personalize for my friends.
Yeah, it's gorgeous. This is a blue lotus tincture, which I put under my tongue like this. This one is alcohol based because alcohol goes into your bloodstream. I believe this is what Christ was talking about when he said to those very religious priests that they might call him a wine bibber, because I can't see Christ rolling around drunk, but he knew the properties, no doubt, about all natural things, in that it's alcohol that extracts the soul, and the alcohol extracts the soul or the essence of the plant. Well, humans drink way too much. That decreases their vibration and extracts their soul and leaves them in all sorts of trouble. But why did the ancients use alcohol to extract plants into tinctures, do you think?
It's
What does it do?
okay. So when you use alcohol to extract, it actually pulls out some of the properties of the herb that nothing else will.
Yeah, got you.
So you can use a glycerite instead of alcohol for those who can't tolerate alcohol.
Thank you. I wanted to ask you for alternates because there's a lot of people watching that won't drink alcohol. They're aware of what happens with it. But, you know, we're not talking about huge quantities here. You just take a few drops, right? But it's the extraction process that is beneficial to us.
Yeah, there are some things that I make. I make a facial serum that's made with coffee.
Oh, yeah?
And I extract the essence of the coffee with alcohol first because it draws out the essence, like all of the goodness from the coffee, whereas the oil won't. So it draws out stuff that the oil doesn't. So when you use a glycerite, it's not going to be quite as powerful as an alcohol extract. So even your vanilla extract that you have in the shops, most of those are the real ones.
Yeah.
Alcohol based.
Yeah, 100%, 100%. People don't know this stuff, but a lot of what you're buying in our commercial ranges, they are not real essences. They are chemical extracts made to smell like it, but they're actually manufactured, right?
Yes, so actually can have synthetic fragrance and synthetic colors, all sorts of things.
Yeah, and that's all of those same types of processes are in everything that we use as perfumes and cleaning products these days. Yeah, it's not done the ancient way anymore. They take these commercial shortcuts to make more profit. It's greed talking, right? But can you tell us what those artificial smells do to the body?
Okay, so fragrances contain things like phthalates, which are huge endocrine disruptors, and they can make you get headaches, nausea. They can cause skin irritations. Like there's so many things that can go on with them, and they're in everything. Like everything that you buy in the supermarket, unless it says natural fragrance and tells you what it is, because they're very sneaky with their labeling.
Yes, very
sneaky. So
the greenwashing.
Essential oils.
Yeah.
Like naturally derived essential oils, which doesn't mean chemical extraction, as in using, you know, hexane and stuff they use to extract the castor oil, like to make castor oil. Well, hexane's horrendous. So again, castor oil needs to be organic, cold pressed. First cold pressed, sorry, has to be in a glass bottle and hexane free. Otherwise, you're just contaminating your skin while you're trying to heal yourself.
Yeah.
So, yeah. So your laundry detergent is a really bad one for fragrances.
Yeah.
Yes. I either buy a non-toxic one from Grace at Finding Wellness and Sustainability. And she has done so much research on all of her suppliers. And when you're looking at things, I try to buy Australian, organic, owned by Australians, local if I can get it, you know. So all of those things are kind of non-negotiables for me. So if it's not that, then I won't buy it.
Got you.
So everything that I use, my first thing is organic, if I can get it. A lot of the times you can't, because they just don't grow the herbs. That specific herb, nobody grows it organically, or you know, it's overseas and you can't import it, or things like that.
I will point out, though, there's going to be a lot of people watching this from around the world. So even though we're in Australia, it would be the same for them to buy local.
Yes.
And Mother Nature's amazing like that. Whereas, you know, if you buy your local fruit, veggies, herbs locally, they are by design there to heal the local people. It's really interesting that the healing is usually right outside your window. Now, and just opening up conversations like this within friendship circles is how we learn, because a lot of us have lost. My grandmother was incredible with this stuff, but I feel like I grew up with a single mum that was working all the time, and she was always interested in natural things, but she didn't have time for it, you know.
Yeah.
Like, and we've gotten to this generation now, my generation and my kids' generation, where, like you said, like, it's convenient, it's one-stop shop, it's buy it, shove it in the microwave, which destroys all of the slight amount of nutrition that might be there. But,
Yeah.
you know, like, I'm opening up dialogue on my socials and stuff for this. I'm making things. I know when I first started to have activated dreams about bringing back the ancient stuff, I was making products all the time. I mean, I wish I could show you on my bench. I've got all these jars and bottles and stuff that I make. You know, I make my own face creams and balms and bath salts and cleaning products, and I was giving it all away to all of my friends in the media. I don't think they really valued it. Some of them might have, but I think a lot of them thought I'd lost it. Like, I was setting up my business with this act of giving.
Yeah.
But I could see what Spirit was doing. It was opening up the dialogue and the conversations to meet people like you. And then guess what happened? Like, this turmeric is from my neighbor just out through that window. She's an amazing gardener. I'm not great at gardening. We've all got our gifts. And then I've got a Hungarian gypsy neighbor across the road. He grows all sorts of things like nettles and stuff. And they bring them to me because I've gifted them something that I've made. And they're like, we don't know what to do with this, but you will. And that's where I think we all have this beautiful synergy. You know, if I'm reasonably accomplished in the kitchen, I'm a trained cook. And who was it that said famously, let food be thy medicine? Was it
Out of the Bible?
Yeah, oh, it is actually. It is. It's in the first book of Genesis, but it was also Plato, I think, that stole, you know, passed this wisdom on. And that's why I asked to meet you today in the kitchen, because even in feng shui, the fire or the heart of the house is in the kitchen, and they used to cook. Look at your kitchen, because that is a hearth, right? Hear the word hearth and heart. It's the same sound, it's the same frequency. And I can't remember who sang this song, but, you know, the 80s were wild for me. It was my funnest time ever. And everyone on my live is saying there's no sound, and that's because I closed it down and opened it up again. So I might just re-log in. I'm just going to close that off and re-log in, because they feel like they're missing out, which is really sad. Yeah, feng shui, the ancients knew this stuff. And the song that I was trying to remember, which I think is from the 80s or 90s, is Always in the Kitchen at Parties. Do you remember that? And when I love to cook, everyone gravitates to the kitchen. And I know they do in your beautiful house as well, because we've set this heart space of generosity, not just sharing knowledge and wisdom, but sharing love that we put into the things that we make or create. And I think this is what we're getting back to as a society, is getting back to making things that are that are beautiful, that are soul created. I mean, you can make the simplest of things and it feels amazing when you put it on your skin, or if you eat it and it tastes incredible, because it's made with love again. And that's this essence of the business, or the extraction of the soul, because it's the essence that you put in, it's the energy that you put in, that you could never afford to buy, right? Because we've lost that in the process of manufacturing.
It's all about speed and greed nowadays.
Isn't it?
No care. No care taken. and
Yeah.
it's whatever they can get for the cheapest to make the most profit. Whereas I don't do that. I
It's
buy the
actually
product.
even a little more nefarious, I think,
Yeah.
because
So
now,
my,
there's been a lot of people awakened during the lockdown, just logging in for the live, for the gang to hear us both, because nobody wants to miss this conversation, where I feel the divine gave us time at home to stop, think, reassess what's important to us. A lot of us dived into study. A lot of us had dreams and activations. A lot of us got back to ancient study. We made new connections online because, well, a lot of us were just bored. So we were mooching about on our social media looking for like-minded souls that had similar activations. And a lot of us birthed new businesses during that time. And that's a good thing that's come out of a perceivably negative thing, just like your heart attack story.
yeah.
You know, the heart attack seems to be very negative, and I can, on a funny little synchronicity, my oven's not working well at the moment. My heart isn't working well within my kitchen, within the fire of my heart of my home. But guess what? We've got new energy pouring in to revive us, to heal us, and that is very much aligned with magnetism with the heart. And you and I could just talk for hours on these things, but I won't, because I want to know, what ingredients do you have in this magical mix that you're making?
Okay, so the first thing that you put in is beeswax and shea butter, and you melt that. And then once that's melted, you add lavender infused oil. So that's I just decanted that this morning. So I have lavender infused oil here.
Yeah.
And so that's been sitting for 6 weeks.
Oh, wow. Beautiful.
Yeah, so it's been sitting for 6 weeks, and that's with organic dried lavender.
Yeah.
And so we do that, and then we just heat that just to combine it. So not too hot, just to combine it. And I've got what almost looks like caramel sort of texture.
Yeah.
But you wouldn't eat it.
No.
And then, so when you do that, you take it off the heat, and then you add your lavender essential oils and your vitamin E oil.
Yeah. And you add extra essential oil because even though you've got a lavender extract, you may not get the smell or the properties that you're looking for. Is that why you're adding extra essential oil?
Yeah. So the lavender infused oil is fine for topical use.
Yeah.
But for your aromatherapy, you need that little bit of a boost. So we add a bit of extra lavender essential oil. And then, so I just stir that for a little while now, just to make sure that, because it's only 6 drops of vitamin E. So you've got to make sure that you combine it really well so that the vitamin E spreads right through it. And 6 drops doesn't seem like enough, but it is, because it is very, very potent. And it's such a healing oil. So then what I'm going to do when this is semi-solid is I'm going to add a really high quality magnesium oil and some organic aloe vera gel.
Oh, lovely.
And so you have to do that when it's cooler so that it doesn't change the consistency of the gel, and the oil doesn't need to be melted as such. So it will combine quite easily. And then we want it to sort of harden, semi-harden, so that I can then whip it with my little blender.
Do you whip it with like a stick blender? Yeah.
So I'm going to invest in an actual blender. But I don't want to use my Thermomix.
Yeah. No.
So I'm just going to buy a blender to do that eventually. But at the moment, everything that I make with my products goes straight back into making more. So as we were saying before, I don't make a lot of money on them, because my whole thing with this is just having enough to buy more product
Yeah.
and containers
I
and
so
spread
get
more
that.
joy. So
I so
yeah,
get that. But you know, like you and I think you gifted me some of these. Like these are beautiful herbs that you can buy, right? But
yes, I did. Yes,
once you get
at
rolling,
the
let
new,
me like this. This is a whole crop of rosemary with flowers that was gifted to me by my bookkeeper friend who used to be a client, you know, a long time ago. And this is the type of thing that happens, that energy attracts energy, right? So we start off small and we start buying things, and then next minute it's in the house or in the heart of the home, and it's being gifted out, because you, as you give, you receive. And then next minute people are giving you things. Like I mentioned, my neighbor giving me turmeric. She gave me hundreds of dollars worth of turmeric. I had jars for days. And so I make tinctures and I give them to my clients. You know, some of it's sold, but a lot of it's just gifted away.
yeah,
But it's all for the better good, because these herbs are alkaline. Right? Now, I didn't know until I had a sound healing space in a herbalist store in Manly. The herbalist there told me how many barrels it takes to make essential oils using flowers. So, you know, here's me. I'd be just like putting my essential oils, you know, like you would perfume, all over, topping up all the time. It's too much. And this is where you said this really interesting thing, like 6 drops is enough. It doesn't sound like it's enough, but it's enough because the essence of the plant, that may have taken 4 barrels or 4 wheelbarrows of that particular plant, and then it's extracted, and we're getting the goodness from 4 barrels of plants goodness, you know. So it's into that, and we can overdo it. And this is where, you know, I think that those that are in the know have demonized these things and given you replacements that actually lower your vibrational frequency because they're petrochemical based. And I want to touch on a sensitive topic, because this was an aha moment for me. I was like, how come herbalism is able to be studied at universities? And then I realized, oh, it's because they must use ethanol. And I'm sorry for any herbalists, like, but it's, you know, it's the same stuff, you know, it's the same process. I really do think we need to take it back to the ancients. I learned a lot of what I learned living in Indonesia. I mean, I learned that you cannot absorb turmeric in the body without adding pepper. So my tincture has pepper in it. You know, it's these combinations. It is the knowledge that's been passed on from grandmother to grandchild, and so on and so on. These things are often in certain bloodlines and families of ancient cultures. That's what I want to tap into. And if you think about our bloodlines, a lot of them were labeled witches, still are, and put away with, done away with by systems that wanted to rule using greed and using replacements that lower our, not just our intelligence, but lowers us as energetic beings. So it dumbs us down, right? The more petrochemicals we slather onto ourselves, it's just like Mother Earth. It's like tipping the oil down the sink. Not a good idea.
No.
Yeah, not a good idea. How did
I can tell you it's not a good idea, because I used to be the one that cleaned and maintained the sewer pump stations here in town.
Well, I'm glad you brought that up.
How much oil and fat there is in those sewer pump stations, and how hard it is to process that out.
Yeah, not easy. I'm glad you brought that up, because I had it in my mind to talk to anyone that's new or wants to start experimenting in their kitchen, because you don't need fancy things.
No.
You can use what you have. But I have a special set of jugs and equipment for making these things, especially when you're using things like beeswax. Maybe you could tell people why we use special things, and you certainly don't go pouring it down the sink if you're washing up. You don't, the residue down the sink. Maybe explain to people why.
So when you're using beeswax, coconut oil, any of those substances that harden when they cool, you will block your sink up. And it's not good in your sewer system either.
Yeah.
So, and the other thing in the sewer system is that when you're processing, it's a biological thing. So you have little bugs like you do in your gut. So it's the same process. You've got bugs in the sewer treatment plant that basically eat the sludge, and then they turn it into, it's a complicated process.
It's interesting.
It's like your gut. So you've got a big tank, and it's like just a massive stomach.
Yeah.
If you put something in your stomach that it doesn't like, you end up with diarrhea or constipation or pain or wind, all of those things. You may even get an allergic reaction. So these poor little bugs, when we put stuff into our grey water or our sinks that upset them,
Yeah.
you can actually kill an entire colony of bacteria in your sewer treatment plant.
Wow.
If there is enough. So if somebody in an industrial setting dumps waste down their drain instead of doing it the way they're supposed to, they can kill an entire sewer treatment plant.
Like, people are not thinking as a collective anymore. They're just thinking greedily for themselves. It's the same. We look at those that are selling things to us, but we forget that the power's in our hand. It's supply and demand. I think that's why my catchphrase is heal self, heal earth. If you heal the way you see things and perceive things, then you will think about other people as the collective. You'll think about your environment. You'll think about nature. And is this the reason that you've decided to birth an online magazine to get us back to the knowledge of this? It's a chain reaction, right?
It is. It is. So it's the same kind of thing when you're walking down the street and you're in a really good mood. And you're walking past everybody and you're smiling and saying hi, and they smile back, and then they walk on for, 10 steps with a smile on their face, and then somebody sees them smiling and they smile back, and then they walk on, and it's like a ripple effect.
Pass it on. It is a ripple effect. That's a great way, like throwing the stone into the water and watching it expand.
Yeah.
And you, even just this conversation in all its authenticity. I mean, my phone just rang, even though it's on silent, because you have your family break through in case of emergencies. In all of the imperfections that people may perceive, if you hear our hearts here, we're saying, please try to see things from a different way now, because these corporations will be forced to change the way they do things if we stop giving them our currency, stop giving them your money, stop giving them your attention. I feel like I got so overloaded toxically that I would get migraine headaches. And
I used to get them too.
Yeah, and particularly it was triggered by my mum's perfume. Now, people don't know that the nose is what takes you back to memories. That's why food is so powerful for us to congregate over. It brings back emotions. It brings back feelings of either security or insecurity. But this smell of the perfume was triggering me with these toxic migraines. And it's not just that chemical that's there. It's the memory that chemical is evoking. And I just stopped using, I love perfume, don't get me wrong, but I stopped using all chemicals. I stopped using anything that had an artificial smell in the house. Of course, I can't control my family. They've got their own things that they like to use, but I just started implementing natural cleaning products, essential oils, making things my own. And the bonus is that you save so much money.
Yeah.
If you add up in your shopping trolley, please look next shop if you're shopping the old way, how much you actually spend on this stuff, when in fact our grandmothers just used a couple of things to clean the house. That was bicarb soda because it's alkaline, vinegar, and something nice and smelly. It might be eucalyptus oil even. Like these things go an awful long way for cleaning absolutely everything, but it does take a little more elbow grease. But what you said to me today about interrupting the microbiome of the sewage system, that blows my mind. That makes sense to me. They even call it a pit, just like you've got the pit of the stomach. It is showing us that everything we do, everything we put down the toilet or the sink is having a cause and effect on all of us.
So here's another one for you. Another example of greed and power of money. Sydney Water took Johnson & Johnson to court because they advertised their baby wipes as flushable. Now, the problem with the baby wipes is that they don't break down like toilet paper does. Paper is designed to break down in the system. And so if you can bear to put 2-ply, not 4-ply on your butt, you'll be doing the sewer treatment plant an amazing.
Or, you know, this is why ancient cultures like Indonesia and Arabia, they use water. They have a little
Bidet.
Yeah, or a little hose that can. I think you can get them. We need to make these small little changes or you know, and I think it's been flipped on its head in the West. We think, oh, we're so advanced and we're so knowledgeable. And then we hear these backstories like that we don't know about that are going on that are like, that doesn't sound very advanced to me.
No.
Or sustainable.
They actually took them to court and they won. Sydney Water lost. Johnson & Johnson won because the court deemed that it hadn't cost enough money to Sydney Water to warrant changing the labelling.
My gosh. But it's sold to us. Like, I used to work in media, so I understand how advertising works psychologically. It's sold to us as you're not clean if you don't have it.
Yeah.
You know, it's a must.
Same as antibacterial wipes and hand sanitizer. Like, all you're doing is killing the good bacteria on your hands.
Yeah.
Because we have good bacteria all over us.
Yes.
And bad bacteria all over us, in us. We're just walking bacteria farms, really.
Yes. We were creating the scenario for other things to activate faster by interrupting the environment within the body externally. No, I totally am with you. And, you know, we've got to be careful how we word these things. But I think humanity are waking up to this, in that a lot of disease, as you mentioned, is just the interruption of what's going on symbiotically within the body. Like, everything has cause and effect.
Yes.
It's simple, right? Like, so if I've got the baby wipes and I'm programmed because of the shame that I'm feeling dirty, I bought those and I'm like, now I'm a good person, now I'm clean. You know, I bought into it's brainwashing, actually, most advertising. I do hit us at an emotional point, and yet I'm totally unaware. And I listen to a conversation like this and go, oh my gosh, like, this is not helping any of us. So back to basics. How can people find you, my love? Let us know where we can find you so that we can join on this beautiful gravy train of understanding what we can do to make change in our life.
So I'm on Instagram as Rachel_Brenton_Morrow, and I'm on Facebook just as Rachel Brenton-Morrow.
Yep. And
I also have brenmore Creations Facebook page, and I've started a coaching business as well. So I'm a certified NLP and transformational coach, as you know. And I'm also doing journal therapy coaching, and I'm in the middle of a neuroscience course so that I can learn more about the brain and how it affects our lives.
all the good stuff. I'm so grateful to you, Rachel. It's been incredible chatting with you in the heart of our homes. And from my heart to yours, just please keep up the good work, because there's never been a time to share more of this positive energy, in that we can implement small changes. You don't, a lot of people I speak to in my mentoring, they get overwhelmed because they think they've got to do it all at once. Like I present steps and stages of it in the 9 weeks courses, you know, that you've done.
Yes, I've done that.
And the thing is that any small change is good change, right?
Yes, absolutely.
Any small step that you take for the better good of all humanity is growth. So don't let yourself become overwhelmed thinking that, oh my gosh, you know, I've got to get all fanatical and cut out everything overnight. No, it's a gradual process. But what we hope to do in these types of conversations is invite you into a new way of seeing health and prosperity, and that is energetically. And if you can make little small changes each day, each week, each month, you won't recognize yourself. It's a bit like a weight loss journey. It's the person that's doing that journey, they don't see the evolution, right? It takes for somebody that hasn't seen you in a year to go, oh my gosh, you look so good.
Yeah.
Well, as soon as you start intentionally cutting out toxic chemicals out of your life, you're going to shine brighter. You're going to hear spirit clearly. You are going to feel more energetic. You're going to meet higher vibrational friends and connections for your business. You're going to attract abundance. And as you mentioned, abundance isn't always about money. It's about the exchange that we have. You know, I could be working a 9 to 8 o'clock job, earning a lot of money, but if I'm miserable, there's no energy in my life. So what we're doing here is not just passion projects, it's building off a currency exchange to make a living using something that we're passionate about. And I just love that.
Yes.
Would you like to wrap up with any words of wisdom, beautiful Rachel? So anything that you've learned that we should know?
Okay, so as Michelle said, don't think you have to do it all at once. When I started the magazine, I started it as a month-by-month guide in small steps on how to do a lot of things. So one of my big goals was to rid my house of plastic. But I didn't just throw everything out and go out and buy all glass storage containers or anything like that. So when something broke and I had to replace it, I bought glass instead of plastic.
Yeah, good
Because
advice.
otherwise it's really expensive. And so then the same with the cleaning products. You know, when you run out of something, buy a healthier one or make one, or, you know, like reach out if you want to know how to make healthy cleaning products.
Yes, we've both got a lot groups, and we would love to add you in there to you just help inspire, mentor, share ideas, learn from you as well.
Yeah.
I want to finish with one thing that we haven't discussed too, because the plastic thing, you know, we know that when we're doing tinctures and things, they've got to be in glass, right? Because of, and actually it's got to be anything with essential oils, it needs to be in colored glass. People don't know because they're light sensitive. So things in a dark cupboard. But just because it's behind me, the cookware matters that you use. Don't try to make something that is non-toxic in anything that's non-stick, because we're still introducing those forever chemicals that people don't know about. There's a really I think it's called Dark Waters on Netflix. Go and watch that movie about another court case about these forever chemicals that are in everything. They're in our gym gear, they're in our raincoats, but the scariest thing of all, they're in our cookware that we heat up on the fire or the heart of the home, and then we ingest it, and it's actually ingesting these forever chemicals that they say that we can't clear out of anything, which is crazy.
Yeah, and they build up.
Yeah, they build up. Thank you so much, Rachel. This has been inspiring. I love what you do. And if anybody wants to put an order in for products from you, I've got a couple more here. This is another juicy little lovely bottle of goodness that I use for my meditations, and I pop it onto my third eye and get all the good smells in. I encourage you to reach out to Rachel. She posts things and they're affordable. They're made lovingly and sustainably. And I promise you go back for more because she's the real deal. I'm really grateful for who you are. And if this inspires you, we encourage you to do what we're doing because we're not in competition. We want you to just shine. And so if we can help you in any capacity or mentor you in any capacity to get the good news rolling around, please reach out. I'll tag all of the contact details below. And yeah, I'll see you soon, my lovely.
Yes, thank you, Michelle. It's lovely to catch up with you.
You too.
Yes.
Yeah, really proud of you. Love what you're doing. Don't stop.
Thank you.
All right, my love, we'll have a gorgeous day. I know you've got a lunch break with a catch up with a beautiful friend that you haven't seen in a while.
Yeah, that's going to be really cool. She's an amazing woman.
I love it. And so this little potion that you're making there, does that go into bottles or how is that packaged?
It actually goes, because it's a whipped cream. Oh, look, here's one I prepared earlier.
Yoo-hoo!
So it can go in a tin.
Oh, yeah.
Or a glass jar.
Nice one. Oh, I should let you get onto that before it sets, yeah, because I know you've got to work quickly with these things. Thank you so much, gorgeous.
This one's okay because the oil keeps it liquid until you whiz it.
Yeah. I want to finish with this, and it's a feng shui quote. The kitchen is considered the heart of the home in feng shui, as it's where food is prepared and energy is nurtured. A kitchen with good feng shui can enhance the overall energy of your home, creating a space that feels calm, inviting, and conducive to health and prosperity. Everything is energy. Love you, Rachel, and catch up soon, hopefully socially. Lots of love.
Yes.
Bye, my love.
See you later.